$8,296 per liter. That is the price of the most expensive liquid in your home. Not the wine in the cabinet, not the perfume on the shelf. It is the black ink inside a $40 printer. And per liter it costs more than vintage champagne, more than Chanel No. 5, more than human blood. Now hold that number against the second one. The company that sells you that liquid will frequently lose money the moment the printer leaves the store. A negative margin device dispensing a positive margin fluid worth more than blood. Two facts that should not coexist. They are the entire business. From the outside, this looks like a hardware company. You walk into a store, you see a wall of plastic boxes, priced like impulse purchases, and you assume the printer is the product. It is not. The printer is the customer acquisition cost. Hardware is roughly a third of the print business. The other 2/3, and nearly all of the profit, is the consumable. This is the razor and blades model in its purest, most ruthless form. Sell the razor at or below cost. Own the blade. The math the manufacturer runs at the point of sale looks like this. Sell a $100 printer, absorb a $30 to $40 loss on the unit, then wait. Every few months, the customer returns for a cartridge, and around day 199, the losses are erased. By year 3, that single sale has produced roughly $160 in profit, almost none of it from the printer. And here is the friction that ruins the naive buyer. You believe you purchased a device. You actually signed a long-term supply contract with no exit clause. On dozens of printer models, the firmware runs a system that inspects every cartridge, identifies non-manufacturer chips, and refuses them. The cheap printer was never the deal. It was the lock. The cartridge is the key, and only one company is permitted to cut it. Let's open the cartridge and read the actual balance sheet. Take a representative high-yield cartridge. Retail price $42. Volume of ink inside it less than half a fluid ounce, 0.45 ounces to be exact. That works out to $93 per ounce. A little over $3,000 per liter for the mainstream cartridge. At the top of the range, a tricolor unit has been measured at close to $10,000 per liter. The fluid itself is the most ordinary thing imaginable. Water, pigment, a few surfactants, and anti-clog agent. Pennies of chemistry inside a chipped plastic vessel priced like a luxury good. This is why the comparison is not hyperbole. A bottle of Dom Perignon, priced by the milliliter the way ink is priced, would run over $1,000. Designer perfume sits at roughly $7,000 per liter. Inkjet ink clears them both. You are, functionally, printing your grocery list in liquid more precious than champagne. But the sticker price understates the true unit cost, because you do not get to print with all the ink you buy. Independent lab testing has found that in intermittent home use, many inkjets deliver only half of their ink to the page, and some as little as 20 to 30%. The rest is consumed by cleaning cycles. The printer runs on its own schedule, not yours. As a rule of thumb, a typical inkjet spends as much ink maintaining itself as it does printing. So the real cost per printed page can be double the figure on the box. You are billed for a liter. Half of it is flushed before it ever touches paper. Now zoom out to the segment level, and the strategy becomes undeniable. In the personal computer business, operating margin runs in the low single digits, around 5.5%. The printing segment runs near 16%. The PCs are volume. The printing, specifically the supplies, is the profit engine of the entire enterprise. A company widely perceived as a hardware maker is, in its margins, an ink company that gives away printers to distribute it. Here is the move that 99% of people never register. The most sophisticated operators in this market are no longer selling you ink at all. They are renting it to you by the page. Under the subscription model, you no longer pay for a cartridge. You pay a flat monthly fee tied to a page allowance. Print under it, you still pay. Print over it, the meter charges you for additional blocks, roughly $1.50 for every 10 to 15 pages beyond your plan. The physical object in the machine has been quietly reclassified. It is not a product you own. It is a license you lease, and this is the master stroke. Cancel the subscription, and the cartridge in your printer stops working, even when it is completely full. The chip phones home, the account closes, and the ink you physically possess is switched off from a server you will never see. As one support agent put it, plainly, it works like a phone plan. You can only print while you are enrolled. Read that as an analyst, not a consumer. They have taken the single most basic disposable good in the building and engineered it into three things every private equity buyer pays a premium for: recurring, predictable revenue, a switching cost that punishes the customer for leaving, and a hard technical moat that the customer cannot legally or practically route around. A bottle of ink is a transaction. A deactivatable, cloud-controlled, metered ink license is an annuity. There is one final twist that reveals just how valuable this engine is. By watching what happens as it erodes. Third-party ink makers have spent years attacking that high-margin profit pool without ever carrying the cost of building an install base. As that pressure mounts, the incumbent's response is not to compete on ink price. It is to start charging more for the hardware up front to rebalance the profit while restructuring the business around the subscription. They would rather raise the cost of the razor than surrender control of the blade. That is how much the blade is worth. So extract the mechanics, because they transfer directly to anything you build. 1. The product you sell is rarely where the margin lives. The printer was never the business. The printer was the distribution for the business. Identify what your audience has to keep coming back for and price the entry to acquire them, not to profit from them. 2. Engineer the switching cost on purpose. Loyalty is sentiment. Lock-in is architecture. The most durable businesses make leaving cost something: a migration, a relearning, a stranded asset. 3. Control the standard, own the chip, the format, the integration, the account. Whoever controls the thing the customer cannot replace controls the price. Every great recurring business is a printer. The only question worth asking about your own is a simple one: what is your ink, and who controls the cartridge?